Welcome viewers, we are here in the studio for a Times Talk. Our episode, we have a very outstanding personality here in our studio this morning, Mr. Garnett Genuis, who is a member of parliament from Sherwood Park and Fort Saskatchewan. He is visiting from Alberta, and we welcome Mr. Garnett Genuis here in our studio today.
Thank you very much.
My partner Latava Siddiqui is also with me, and we are going to ask a few questions to you. I start from asking Bill 210, which is you put it on table recently. So what do you think about that bill? Is there any position or the NDP or the Labour have some issues with that or what?
Thank you for the opportunity to share about this. So this is Bill S-210. It's a Senate bill originally, and it was put forward in the Senate by Senator Duchesne, adopted unanimously in the Senate. Now it's in the House of Commons being sponsored by my Conservative colleague Karen Vecchio, and I'm seconding the bill along with a number of other MPs. This is a very important bill because it deals with the abuse of children, the exposure of very young children increasingly to sexual images, including violent sexual images on the internet. We have a big problem right now of young children being able to relatively easily access dangerous, violent sexual content online. The statistics tell us that the average age for first exposure for boys is 11. So very young boys who are seeing this material, and it's shaping their brains, shaping their ideas about what is acceptable, and it's leading to more violence against women. It's leading to all kinds of problems in relationships, and this bill would try to put a stop to that by requiring meaningful age verification for accessing pornographic material online. We already have age verification requirements for other activities that are supposed to be for adults only. So if you're buying alcohol, if you're gambling online, you have to provide meaningful proof of your age. So this bill would extend those requirements for meaningful age verification to sexual material online. And again, just to emphasize, this exposing young children to sexual images is a form of child abuse. So this is to respond to a real epidemic of abuse through exposure to this material, and it can happen through maybe your child doesn't have a phone, but another child at school is able to access this material on their phone and show it or share it with another child. The exposure to this is rampant because of how many devices are out there and the lack of verification online. So this bill is very important for protecting our children from this exposure.
Okay. So what about the next elections? What do you think the Conservative Party is going to be in the majority, or what do you think? Because there are a lot of challenges with this government now. When you come in, power, you have a lot of challenges coming.
Yeah. Well, you never take these situations for granted. Obviously, what we're seeing right now, though, is that there is a lot of dissatisfaction with the current government, and this speaks to a broad range of issues. The challenges in the economy, big challenges people are facing. Life is becoming less and less affordable. Part of that affordability challenge is the price of housing. The failure of this government to support policies for the construction of new homes is leading to people being left behind without access to housing. Public safety is a big issue. There's a massive increase in auto thefts in particular, but other kinds of crime as well. So as you look, the safety, the affordability, the housing, after 8 years of NDP Liberal government, it just isn't working. Their approach to these issues just isn't working. And Conservatives are offering constructive, substantial alternatives that people are responding to. I think what we're starting to see this year in 2024 is a more and more desperate Liberal Party. We're seeing more attacks and a shift from talking about their own policies to really trying to attack the Conservatives. But we're not afraid of that. We've got positive solutions to present. And I'll just to follow up on what we were talking about on Bill S-210, I should mention this. The Liberals actually, most of the Liberals voted against Bill S-210. So we're trying to put forward a bill to protect children from dangerous, violent sexual images online, and actually the bill passed the second reading because the other party supported it, but most of the Liberals voted against, which just shows that they're out of touch. And whether it's crime, cost of living, protecting children, the Liberal Party really has become out of touch with the concerns of Canadians.
Mr. Garnett, you served as a Minister for the Multiculturalism as well as International Development, as well as you are a critic of the human rights also. So how you see that human rights situation as there are two wars going on, in Ukraine as well as in the Gaza? So how you comment on that?
Yeah, thank you. In the midst of the challenges we see at home, there's a growing instability around the world, and it requires a response from Canada. I think, unfortunately, for the last 8 years, our stature in the world has been declining. Our government has not projected a strong, principled voice internationally. Sometimes they've wanted to send signals to say, oh, we're on the right side of this issue or that issue, but they haven't really been effective at advancing our positions. So let's talk about the two wars going on in particular. When it comes to the illegal genocidal invasion of Ukraine, Conservatives support Ukraine and support Canada providing aid to Ukraine, especially military aid in order to defeat the invasion. There have been a lot of announcements from the Liberals, and to hear them talk, you'd think okay, they're supporting Ukraine, but if you look at the actual details, they haven't been able to deliver the weapons, deliver the hardware in a timely manner. As you've just seen the news that a year ago they promised a missile defense system, and they still haven't delivered it. So what Ukrainians are seeing is the same thing that Canadians have seen actually from this government, is a disconnect between the announcements and delivering. The war involving Israel and Hamas, it's very tragic, and the impact on civilian life in Gaza, as well as the impact on civilians we saw on October 7th, is very tragic. And our position, conservative position, is that the Hamas terrorist organization has to be put out of business. It has to be defeated, and that Palestinians should be able to elect their own government. In Gaza for too long, the Palestinian people have been terrorized, held hostage by the Hamas terrorist organization that has used the Gaza Strip as a staging ground for attacking Israel, instead of focusing on trying to improve the lives of the Palestinian people. So we want to see the release of hostages, the defeat, the disarming of the Hamas terrorist organization, and Palestinians be able to have their own elected government that can then engage in the hard but necessary conversation with Israel's elected leaders towards the establishment of a two-state solution. I think one other point about that is that we need to recognize the role that the Iranian regime is playing trying to upset peace initiatives in the Middle East. Before October 7th, there had been a lot of progress in terms of negotiations between Israel and other Muslim countries, most notably the Abraham Accords. So we see this emergent cooperation between and movement towards peace between Israel and its neighbors, and of course a big part of that was the hope for peace between Israel and Saudi Arabia. But the Iranian regime is completely ideologically opposed to that, and it has been supporting terrorist organizations like Hamas to try to disrupt that. So that's why we have said that the IRGC in Iran should be labeled a terrorist organization, and we want to support the development of peace between Israel and states in the regime that are states in the region that are willing to pursue that.
In continuation of this debate, last week the foreign ministers of all European Union, and they said that the two-state theory or two-state formula will help resolve this issue. Do you think that this will happen?
Conservatives support a two-state solution, and I think the way towards that is the defeat of the Hamas terrorist organization. You look kind of back at what's happened between the West Bank and Gaza. There haven't been democratic elections in either of those areas for quite some time, and I think what you need to see is the defeat of the terrorist organization Hamas, an election where Palestinians in the West Bank and Gaza are together able to choose democratically elected leaders who would operate within constitutional constraints, of course, as happens in any democracy, and who would then be able to negotiate with Israel how to bring about a two-state solution. A two-state solution is the way, but it has to involve the defeat of terrorists.
Mr. Genuis, I have another question that is about your bill. But before that, I wish to share with you what the Hill Times wrote about a long time ago about you. And I quote, MP Garnett Genuis is a fierce debater and a strategic thinker who planned his political foray far in advance, unquote. Still, I wish to, I like to debate your bill 210 with a fierce debater. And I with you, for me the bill that you tabled in the Parliament is very, very important, and it could be the need of the hour at the moment. I think at the same time that the implementation of this bill will need cooperation from some organization like Google. Is that correct?
Well, and just to note, I'm seconding the bill. It's not my bill, but I'm here supporting it, and want to recognize the work of MP Karen Vecchio as well as Senator Duchesne on it. Look, I think the implementation of the bill is requiring meaningful age verification by the companies that are purveying these images. So the pornography websites, they have a responsibility to create mechanisms of meaningful age verification. So it creates an obligation on those companies. I don't think that I don't think that there would be that much that the social like a search engine would have to do, unless the search engine was providing that content directly. It's more a matter of if you go to search engine, it links to the website where this material is. There would need to be a wall in advance, an age verification mechanism. There's technical questions here, but I think the point I would underline is that this exists. Age verification exists for other kinds of products and materials, right? If you cannot buy alcohol or gamble online without providing meaningful verification of your age. Doesn't mean that that's 100% foolproof, but there are meaningful checks and balances to verify the age of a person. We're just saying that the same things should apply to sexual content as applied to other kinds of content that we recognize as being more adult in nature.
Another question, it could be an offbeat question. As you know, the incumbent Deputy Prime Minister of Canada is a columnist turned politician. You also wrote a regular column for Sherwood Park News as a political correspondent. So once you were like us, so should we expect that you would also touch the new heights of glory in days to come?
Look, I love my job. I love serving as a member of Parliament now. I've had lots of different kinds of roles as a member of Parliament, and my experience has been that you can make a difference in a lot of different ways in politics. So I enjoy serving my constituents and talking about issues that I care about, and doing so from a lot of different angles.
Another one-line question, maybe the last one for me, about your party's election slogan, X the tax.
Yes.
Is that working?
I think people want to see the end of the carbon tax, and they see how the carbon tax is driving up inflation, and it hits at multiple levels. It taxes the farmer who grows the food, it taxes the trucker who moves the food, it taxes the grocer who sells the food, it taxes the family who's bringing the food home. But politically speaking, a good slogan is one that tells the truth. It's where the line connects with the reality. And we're saying axe the tax, and the reality is if we are elected, we will axe the tax. And I think people understand that and they agree with it.
We take a break, and after break we come and talk again with Mr. Garnett. Thank you.
Buying or selling a residential or commercial property is one of the biggest financial decisions most people will make in their life. The real estate lawyers at Alum Law Chambers will guide you through the complete real estate laws to ensure your transaction completes on time and your dreams come true. Reliable and affordable. Alum Law.
You know, the Conservative Party is having favorable opinion polls. So what do you think, that will it be a majority government or a minority government?
Well, the attitude we have is that we have to earn the trust and support of Canadians. And that will be a process up until Election Day, and that will be a process that continues after Election Day. It's not like a horse race where you can say, oh, this person's ahead, this person's behind. It's a continuing process of talking to and earning the trust of voters. And so I don't know what the result will be when the election comes, but we are committed to doing the hard work of earning that trust. But I think what you do see with opinion polls and with the mood in the country in general is that after 8 years of NDP Liberal government, there is so much unfulfilled promise. And people look back to where we were in 2015, housing prices were substantially lower, crime was so much lower. I think we had a lot more social cohesion. There was a time at the time of the 2015 election, things were going very well in this country. And we look where we are after 8 years. Trudeau said in 2015, better is possible, and then he made things a lot worse. And I think he's now trying to talk himself out of the consequences of his decisions. And the reason it's not working is because it's not working. The way he has approached government, the division, the lack of prudence in economic management has led to a situation where people see our country as worse off than it was 8 years ago. But we can restore that hope, that optimism, and elevate the conditions of our country once again if we have the right, focused, principled leadership.
There is a perception in Canada that the affordable housing will be the main issue, election issue. Do you think so?
I think it will be a defining issue. And obviously there are some different pressures in different parts of the country as well. So the situation in my constituency, for instance, is not as acute as it is here in the Greater Toronto area. But especially in these pockets of the country, it will be a critical, pressing issue. And look, it's quite simple. You need a lot more homes. We haven't been building homes at the level that people need them, and that has led to scarcity and cost pressures. And so we have articulated a plan to remove the gatekeepers, to take away the barriers that are preventing new home construction. And after 8 years, there hasn't been action on this at all, and now we have these sort of late stage photo ops and announcements from the government. We need a cohesive plan to get homes built. And the other thing to say about getting homes built is you can't screw it up for 8 years and then say, okay, here's an announcement, go live in an announcement, right? You have to create the conditions and the policies over time, and last minute photo ops and announcements are not going to solve the problems liberals have created. We need the kind of vision and leadership. And I would just say, one of the things that I appreciate in particular about our leader is the detail in which he communicates on these issues. So if people haven't seen it, our leader, Pierre Poilievre, released a documentary called Housing Hell on his social media. And people can watch it. It's 20 minutes. It's available. It's been viewed millions of times online. And I welcome people to look at that, to hear about the cause of the problem and also the specific concrete solutions Conservatives are proposing.
Mr. Garnett, when we see this housing market, as Mr. Lataput mentioned, our new generation, we are killing our new generation. You see, the thing is that after this pandemic, all the youngsters move in outskirts. That's why they are making their livings, but away from the cities.
Yeah.
Before that, they are living in the downtown. But now, do you think that your party is going to do something for this new generation? Any plan or something?
Well, I think what we're seeing in terms of opinion and voting trends is that young people are being particularly drawn to the Conservative Party right now. And a big part of that process is driven by the way that the failures of the NDP Liberal policies have particularly impacted young Canadians who want to be able to access opportunity, and that means being able to buy and own a home and have hope that they will have economic opportunity at the same level or greater than their parents. It's long been our history in Canada that parents expect to be able to pass along a greater level of prosperity to the next generation. But for the first time, we're in a situation where I think parents are concerned about their adult children not being able to inherit the same level of prosperity and opportunity that they have. So in terms of the next election, I think Conservatives have a very attractive series of proposals for young people, focused on restoring that hope around opportunity and prosperity, that hope that young people will be able to afford a home in the future if we fix the problems we have now in terms of housing. So much of that hope has been lost under the NDP Liberal government, but we are working to restore that hope, and this I think explains why we've had such a strong and positive response from young Canadians.
Students are coming from across the globe to study in Canada.
Yes.
And I think this is an important issue at the moment.
Yes.
What's your opinion about it?
Yeah, absolutely. So Sean Fraser, the current housing minister, was the immigration minister, and so much damage was done to the immigration system during his tenure, especially around this area of international students. So to put this in perspective, right? Most people, when they think of international students, they think of students coming to study at some of the world-class universities we have here in Canada. But statistically, actually, 2/3 of those who come for post-secondary studies through the student visa are not studying at Canadian universities. Only 1/3 of them are coming to Canadian universities. 2/3 are studying at other institutions. And there's great other institutions as well. There's technical colleges and other such schools that provide important and valued education. But I think there's also a lot of evidence that there are less reputable institutions that are bringing students in and kind of presenting the studies not really as being about the studies, but as being a kind of backdoor into immigration. But this is a problem that has been created and developed under the Liberals to the point now where there's 1 million holders of study permits, most of whom are not studying at Canadian universities, and so now the Liberals have suddenly started saying, oh my goodness, we have a problem here. But it's a problem of their own making that they need to take responsibility for. And I've asked the government other specific questions about the quality of life of these students, because we're hearing anecdotally about international students who are struggling a lot when they come to Canada, some who are dying by suicide even. And when I've asked the government for information about this, they say they actually don't track the numbers on this. They're not tracking how many international students are dying by suicide, how many are failing to complete their programs of study. So there's not even the data being collected to measure the outcomes of this program.
Mr. Garnett, another serious issue is the law and order.
Yes.
As you see here, I don't know about Saskatchewan, but here in this area, this region, a lot of car are lifting and things
Yes.
like that, and crime is going up and up every day. So this is also the impact, the aftermath of this, whatever you are mentioning, the student problem. So how you see that, how you fix it?
Well, we're seeing a huge growth in crime, and we need to zero in on the fact that the Liberal government, the NDP Liberal government, made changes to our bail system, making it easier for those who have been charged with a crime, repeat offenders, to be released on bail before their trial. The effect of this is that we have just chronic repeat criminals that are in some cases, they commit a crime in the morning, they're arrested, they're out on bail, and they're committing crime in the afternoon. And if you look at the statistics on the high end especially, there was just an astronomical number of crimes being committed by a relatively small number of people. It's good news in a way that we can say there's not that many criminals, but it's bad news that we're enabling this small number of criminals to commit so many crimes. So the simple solution that we have proposed for this is to reverse the Liberal changes on bail, to go back to a system where we have jail, not bail, for repeat violent offenders. If someone is a chronic repeat criminal, it should be jail, not bail, so that we don't have this situation of morning, afternoon, and evening repeat crime sprees where people are caught and released, caught and released, caught and released. So I think that there's a lot of different things that we can do, and you can see in the crime rates. Under Stephen Harper, crime was going down. Under the Liberals, it began to go up again. A critical piece of this is reversing the changes that the Liberals made to the bail system.
Thank you very much, Mr. Garnett, for being here in our studio this morning, and thank
My
you very
pleasure.
much. We heard your views and everything, and I'm really thankful to my viewers also for watching this show. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.